Hello there. I'm going to take you down the side yard and take you into the front yard and see what's going on. As you can see, this hibiscus is still blooming itself to death. It is so pretty. That's about all it's blooming right here, except for the beautiful crepe myrtle up there. Lots of petals of the crepe myrtle has fallen off. Do you remember how pretty these deutzias were in the spring? They were just loaded with blooms. And ours, those hostas we divided and got out of the hot sun, and they're doing so much better. And this was a volunteer Japanese painted fern right here. This bed I worked on a couple of weeks ago. Everything had just taken over, and we took out that big giant hosta and got 18 plants out of it and put a couple of them back in there. But it was taking over all our other plants, so we had no choice. And it was a job to get out. I love the bark on crepe myrtles. We're going to have to do some topping on this one because it's gotten so tall. We did a lot of trimming and cleaning down here. The contorted filbert here had taken over everything. Had about killed the little rhododendron there, so we had to do a lot of cutting, and everything was crowding out that Japanese maple. So we did a lot of trimming back on the nandinas and the pyrrhus. Down here's where I think John wants to do a little cemetery for Halloween. He's really anxious. I have to watch him or he'll have those tombstones that he's been making out right now. Had to trim the rhododendron way back. It had just gotten scraggly and had a lot of dead in it. And there's that beautiful small crepe myrtle. This is ghost fern. And there's some anemones coming up in here too. An azalea. There was a heuchera that was hidden. I took out a big ghost fern here and divided it and shared with friends. And there's a small piece left. This Hakencloa grass, I love this stuff. It just moves in a breeze and it's so pretty. Right there is a piece of the hosta. Of course, the deer had eaten the leaves off of it before we ever got around to dividing it. And there is that beauty right there. The fern was really crowding it too. And there's another piece of, I mean not fern, but hosta. There's another piece of that giant hosta. And I redid the edge of the bed. You can see that the black-eyed Susies are just doing wonderful. They're one plant that the heat doesn't hurt. Our coneflowers, the deer had eaten some of those earlier, but they're doing okay. And remember, in the spring, we put these beautiful pyrrhus in here. And that way we won't have to replant it. Lots of birdhouses. And we brought out our little patriotic chair that John painted. I see some volunteer maples in the Pyrrhus. They have really grown. They evidently like it right there. And back here, all our little vintage treasures, and a lot of them is yard sale finds, and a birdhouse a friend made. And John made that shelf out of some old wood. And baby boy's chairs. I don't know where he's at right now. I love that beautiful hosta, and I don't know its name. The chives are blooming. Everything this year has really had a time because we've had a drought. We had a little bit of rain this past week, but it's been so much hotter and drier than normal. We've had a break this past week. It was in the 80s, but it's going to get back up in the 90s starting today for the next 5 days. I cleared out that bed some too. The periwinkle had taken over all my baby chicks, so I couldn't even see them. And over there in those ferns, I've told you before, baby boy loves to get over there in them and sleep, because I guess he feels protected. There's a baby crepe myrtle. And those bunnies that we got years and years ago at a yard sale. I trimmed back the cranesbill geraniums, or perennial geraniums, so they'll probably bloom again. They usually do. And John made this little sculpture, I may have told you, years ago out of different things we got at yard sales. That little compote, and then he used a pipe and put old marbles out of his old marble collection and old spoons on it. There's another small crepe myrtle. And I may have told you this, but for those that aren't familiar, all this brick edging, these came from the old trolley tracks in our downtown city. We picked a few up at yard sales, and then a friend had a bunch of them, and she let us come and get them, and I used them to edge that bed. They're not perfect, but I love them. I made them work. They're beautiful detail on them. Okay, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and a great day. Stay safe, be kind. Till the next time.